Welcome to third grade. I'm your teacher, Mr. Ritenour, and I have 4 different subjects for you today, okay? So we're going to start doing this every single day, where I'm going to do like 4 different topics, about 15 minutes on each. So what's the math there? What's 4 times 15? Very good, it's an hour. About halfway through, like 30 minutes, whenever I'm done with the second topic, I'm going to ask that you take a break, okay? Pause the video and go do something, right? Whether it's stretches or getting a snack, go in the bathroom, whatever. Rest your eyes from the screen. I don't want you staring for an hour straight, okay? Alright, so let's just quickly go over today's schedule here. First, we're going to do some Go Math. Then we're going to switch gears and do some US history. Alright, and then it's going to be halftime, and the start of the third quarter will be grammar, simple solutions, and the fourth quarter we will do some ace writing. Alright, so that's what we've got today. I'm looking into possibly doing tomorrow or Thursday. Tomorrow or maybe Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure yet. I'm looking into doing some kind of like group hangout using Google Hangouts. I have the capabilities of doing it, but I'm not sure if you would be interested in that. Basically, it'd be like a Skype session where all of us could log in, and if you have a webcam, then we can see your face and we can listen to each other and talk to each other. So I think I'm going to offer that later this week for anyone that wants to, and probably do that around like 1 o'clock this time, so that if you are available, you can log in and we can kind of see each other and hang out virtually. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll send more information to your parents, but probably either tomorrow or Friday. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work, but we're going to try because I miss you guys, and I'm sure you miss each other. So, all right, enough of me gabbing. I'm going to put myself in the corner here, and we're going to start some Go Math, okay? Now, please open up your books to page 687. We usually do this in class as like a review game for our test. Obviously, this is going to be a little different. We're just going to go through the first 3 pages together, so the first half of the Chapter 11 review together. Kind of just like a lesson, all right? Because what's more important than any test is you understanding. Next year, whenever you get to 4th grade, you will still have to be able to solve area and perimeter. And guess what? Whenever you're an adult, you need to find area and perimeter. All right? Just the other day, I needed to do that for my backyard. So it's important stuff. Let's start with number 1. It says find the perimeter of each figure on the grid. Identify the figures, so that's like the shapes, that have a perimeter of 14 units. Mark all that apply. So whenever you see this, mark all that will apply. Chances are there's going to be more than one answer, right? So I'm just going to take my pen here. I'm going to use green. And I'm going to start in this corner. And I'm going to just trace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hey, there we go. The first one works. It's got a perimeter of 14. Sorry that's messy. It's hard to do on the computer. Okay, let's look at shape B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Nope. What about this L, upside down L? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There we go. We got a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And last one. This looks like what are those called? Those awesome airplanes that the Air Force uses. Not Black Hawk. Sugar Plums. It's going to bother me. I can't remember it, but it does look like that. Let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So figure D does not work. Okay, so the answers were A and C. By the way, this just reminds me, because I wasn't filling these in very well, is that the PSSA test has been canceled for this year, which is awesome. Okay, number 2. Kim wants to put trim around a picture she drew. So for those of you that don't know, trim is the outside, it's the edge. All right, you put trim around your doors and your floors. So do you think trim is going to be area or perimeter? Nice, it's gonna be perimeter, right? Perimeter is the outside. All right, so how many centimeters of trim does Kim need for the perimeter of the picture? Look, it even told us perimeter. So it looks to me like all 4 sides are the same, right? This side 6, this side 6, 6, 6. So rather than doing 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, what multiplication sentence could I use? Good. 6 times 4. What is 6 times 4? Good work, Doobie. 24 centimeters. Oh, Sophie, you're up. Sophie drew this rectangle on dot paper. Nice. Good job, Sophie. What is the area of the rectangle? So, Sophie, you're trying to figure out how many squares can fit in here. So let's just trace using these dots here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many of you have ever played that dot game where you're trying to make the boxes? Love that game. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 square units. Another way of doing it, you could have counted the edges. 1, 2, by 1, 2, 3, 4, and then did length times width, 2 times 4. All right, let's flip it. Next page. Number 4, the drawing shows Seth's plan for a fort in his backyard. Awesome, I love forts. Each unit square is 1 square foot. Which equations can Seth use to find the area of the fort? Mark all that apply. The area of the fort. So I am wanting to know the area, the number of squares that I can fit in here. But I need to figure out which equations I can use. So an equation means that one side is equal to the other, all right? Let's find the area to start off with. So I've got a side length of 4. Count that, 1, 2, 3, 4. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got a 4 by 7. So the very first equation would be length times width. What is 4 times 7? Good job, fish. 28. So do I see an answer that has 4 times 7 equals 28? I do, right here. Letter F. So if my answer is 28, I can get rid of every single equation that doesn't have 28. So this one's wrong. This one's wrong. Ooh, letter C looks like it could be right. This one's wrong, and this one's wrong. So let's see if letter C is right. We've got 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. So that's 4 sevens equals 28. That's like the same thing as saying 4 times 7, right? It's just repeated addition. So letter C is also probably correct. And, oops, if you look, what did I just do? There we go. If you look at oh, sorry, I need to fix this. Hello? Okay, this is really weird, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's going on here with my laptop. Okay, sorry, we're all good. If you look here, it says mark all that apply, so you know that it probably means there's more than one answer. So we've got 2 right there. Okie dokie, sorry about that. My computer is doing weird stuff. Number 5. Which rectangle has a number of square units for its area equal to the number of units of its perimeter? Whew, I like this kind of question. It makes you think. So we're looking for a shape that has the same perimeter and area. So we're going to need to find the perimeter and the area of each shape. So look at letter A. It's 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that the area of shape A is length times width. So what's 1 times 7? Easy. And the perimeter is going to be the sum of all 4 sides. So 1 plus 7 is 8. 1 plus 7 on the other side is 8. What is doubled? 8 doubled. Good work, Patina. 16. So does letter A have the same perimeter as it does area? No. Alright, how about B? How about B? So I've got a side length of 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. My area for B is going to be my length times my width. What's 4 times 4? Good work, Lucas. 16 is absolutely correct. Now I need to find the perimeter. So what is 4 plus 4? That's 8. That's half the perimeter, remember? I've got this half too, which is the same as the other half. Sorry, 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is... Yay! It's also 16. So it has the same area as it does perimeter. That's exactly what the question was asking. So our correct answer is the letter B. Alright, we got lucky there. We didn't have to do all 4. Moving on here, number 6. Vanessa. She uses a ruler to draw a square. The perimeter of the square is 12 centimeters. Select a number to complete the sentence. Oh, so look at each of the sides. It's an S. That's what we call in math a variable, right? Whenever there's a letter instead of a number. That, my friends, is algebra. So we need to figure out what the side length is for S. So let's just think about the perimeter here. The perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So let's just pretend each side is called S. So we'd have to add up S plus S plus S. And all 4 of those sides are going to add up to what? 12, right? 12, if you don't remember, it's right here in the problem. 12. Alright, so this is repeated addition. What's another name for repeated addition? Well, very good, Cody. It is called multiplication. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, or 4 times S equals 12. Well, what times 4 equals 12, guys? Another way of saying that is 12 divided by, 4. So what is 12 divided by 4? Good job, London. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So S is equal to 3. And let's just go back and double check here. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, which is our perimeter. Very good, guys. Okay, moving on. Next question. Number 7. Thomas drew 2 rectangles on grid paper. Circle the words that make the sentence true. So let me just read this. Rectangle A has an area that is less than, the same as, or greater than the area of rectangle B. So let's find the area of rectangle A. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the area of A is 12, and B, the area is going to be equal to, let's count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So both the areas are 12. So rectangle A has an area that is less than, the same as, or greater than. Well, we just said it. The area that is the same as. All right, are we done? No, there's a second part. And a perimeter that is the less than, the same as, or greater than A. So let's go back up here and let's find the perimeter now. So I'm gonna do red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this one's got a perimeter of 14. And let's see. Let's find the perimeter of B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Whew, that's bigger. So my correct answer for this second part of the question, it says the rectangle A has a perimeter that is less than the perimeter of rectangle B, right? Because rectangle A's perimeter was only 14, where B's was 16. UG. What a strange name, UG. Sounds like something like type of water, right? Yeah, that's Fuji. Yuji drew his figure on grid paper. What is the perimeter of the figure? So let's start in the corner and count our way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 units. That was fun. It was like we were going down the steps there. Okay, last question on this page. What is the area of the figure shown below? Each unit square is 1 square meter. All right. Oh, sugar plums. I have some serious issues here. All right, now I'm good. So let's just count all these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 square units. In this case, square meters, right? Because each unit square is 1 meter. 13. Now, if this was a test that I was turning in, I would actually probably go back on these questions and I would just do it one more time just to make sure I had the right answer. It doesn't hurt to double check yourself. So I just did it again and I got the same answer. All right. Always good to double check. Even I make mistakes sometimes. Okay, that's the perfect place to stop for math for today. We're going to finish the second half of that Go Math review for chapter 11, probably either tomorrow or Friday. So let us switch gears now to U.S. history. Yay! All right, so yesterday we talked about the Civil War, and boy, we could spend a whole week, a whole month on the Civil War. It's so fascinating, but we don't have that kind of time. So let's just quickly summarize here. First question, who was the Civil War fought against? Good, the North versus the South. Second question, what was the major issue that divided the North from the South? Well done, slavery. And who was elected president of the North? Good, Abraham Lincoln. And who was winning the Civil War at the beginning? Yeah, the South, all right? The Confederates, that was what the South was called. They actually were kicking the North's butt, the Union. And do you remember the name of the general who kind of turned the tide of the war, so to speak, for the North? Nice, General Grant. And with the help of General Grant, Lincoln was able to restore confidence in the war for the North, and they were able to go on to win. Now, yesterday we talked about a major, major battle that happened in Pennsylvania. It was the turning point of the war, a huge battle. Do you remember where that battle was? Gettysburg. Nice job. Good memory, boys and girls. So the United States, the North, the Union, they end up winning that battle of Gettysburg, and then they go on a winning streak here and continue to beat the South. And eventually, Robert E. Lee surrenders at a place called Appomattox Courthouse. Now, I want to tell you something really cool. This is a piece of Civil War history, all right? The war began, the first major battle, not like the Fort Sumter attack, but the first major battle was at a little place called Bull Run, all right? Also known as Manassas. It's where I grew up, believe it or not. And there is this family, this guy that owned a house right in the middle of the battlefield. And as soon as the battle started, of course, there were bullets flying through his kitchen, so they had to leave. And he moved, get this, he moved to Appomattox Courthouse in Maryland. And the end of the Civil War in 1865, his house was the house that Robert E. Lee and General Grant met to sign the treaty. So literally the war started on his front door and ended in his parlor. So that's just a really cool, neat trivia fact about the Civil War. What are the chances that the same family would be at the start of the war and at the end of the war? All right, you can tell I'm kind of a nerd for the Civil War, so I'm going to move on. Okay, today's lesson, and feel free to take some notes. I mean, soak it in, whatever you want to do. You can either just listen or write some things down. It's up to you, all right? Whatever's going to help you. So read along with me if you can, even if your brother or sister thinks you're weird. Let's read this out loud together, okay? Only 5 days after the end of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln is shot in the back of the head while watching a play at the Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. So I'm pretty sure that's Forbes Theater. Let me pause. All right, we're going to search something. Isn't it Forbes Theater? Maybe I messed up, or maybe it is Forbes Theater. I don't like being wrong about my history. It is Ford's Theater. I was right. Oh my goodness. Let's go back here. So I was right. It's Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Okay, back to our reading. Sorry. His killer, John Wilkes. Does anyone know his last name? It's kind of famous. It's a synonym for a bench at a restaurant. Booth. So his killer, John Wilkes Booth, was a disgruntled Southerner who believed killing Lincoln would save the South. So let's pause for a second. So John Wilkes Booth was he was a sympathizer with the South. All right, he did not want slavery to end, and he was very, very upset. So he snuck into the theater and went up into President Abraham Lincoln's into his I can't remember what they call that in the theater, but he snuck up in there and shot Abraham Lincoln right in the back of the head. So what a cowardly thing to do. And remember, this is only 5 days after the end of the war, so Lincoln should be celebrating that the North won, and instead he takes a bullet to the back of the head. Alright, let's keep reading. The country was in pieces after the war, and the only man who could put them back together properly was Lincoln. Now that he's gone, our country was left to shove the pieces together in ways that would take 100 years to finally fix properly. Lincoln knew he had to establish equality for African Americans freed by the blank amendment to the Constitution. So the amendment to the Constitution, remember we talked about the Bill of Rights? Each one of those is an amendment. Like the first one is the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. The second one's the freedom to bear arms, like to own a weapon. Each one of those is an amendment. So an amendment is something that the Constitution protects your rights. And the only way to make something a official law set in stone is to add an amendment to the Constitution. And that's exactly what Abraham Lincoln did. He knew that him just declaring that slavery was illegal wasn't powerful enough. He needed to actually add an amendment to the Constitution. So the 13th Amendment set slaves free. The 13th. Alright, let's keep reading, okay? Freedom without equal rights was not really freedom. When he was killed, his mission for equality died with him. Sad. The presidents who followed him were afraid of conflict, like arguments, so they compromised with the former slave owners of the South. Blacks living in the South may not serve a master anymore, but they were still being treated like slaves. They were forced to attend separate schools, separate restaurants, separate buses, and separate churches. Black people were not allowed to vote or run for office either. It wasn't until Martin, you guys all know this, Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement of the 1960s, that's 100 years later, that blacks were finally granted equality. Many historians believe that if Lincoln would not have been assassinated, let's pause for a second. Assassinated is a word that means killed or murdered. Our nation would have achieved peace and equality between black and white races nearly a century sooner. A century is how many years? Think about it. How many cents are in a dollar? Good, 100 years. With Lincoln's death came a new chapter of American history. One of relative peace and, it's a big word, industrialism. Industrialism is industry, all right, the rise of machines and factories. The focus became more on blank rather than enslaving. Well, what do you think that is? The focus became more on inventing rather than enslaving. And we'll talk a lot about that at the next U.S. history lesson about inventions in the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so a couple major things to talk about here before we watch our video. Lincoln not only had a plan for winning the Civil War, but he also had a plan for reuniting our country, okay? If you ever get in a fight with your brother or sister, or maybe with your friend, well, you don't immediately just get back together and make up, right? It takes some time. You also have to kind of talk to each other and apologize to each other, right? You've got to work things through, okay? Well, that's kind of what our country was like at the end of the Civil War, right? We just got in a big old fight, literally killing almost 1 million people. And we really needed to make up, okay? We needed to talk things out, figure out how we're going to live in this house together, so to speak. And no one was better at that than Lincoln. He had a vision and he knew what to do. Sadly, though, he didn't get the chance to put the puzzle pieces back together like he wanted because John Wilkes Booth shot him and killed him. And the person that took over for Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, he was Lincoln's vice president, and he did not know what he was doing. He actually almost got impeached. Actually, I think he did get impeached. He just got acquitted in the Senate, kind of like how President Trump got impeached earlier this year. So Andrew Johnson, he was not the man for the job. All right, let's just leave it at that. Okay, he did not want conflict. He did not want to solve these problems, and he just got thrown into the position. He did not know Lincoln was going to get shot and killed. So instead of solving the problem and letting our wounds heal, we basically just took a giant big fat Band-Aid and slapped it on the wound and said, oh, it'll be okay. Now, if you know anything about a wound, if you don't clean it and take care of it, it will, underneath the Band-Aid, start to pus and fester and get gross and cause more problems. And that's what happened when Lincoln was assassinated. Our country was kind of like the boo-boo, and it didn't get healed right. It needed stitches, but it didn't get it. It just got a Band-Aid. And so in the South, even though you couldn't have slaves anymore, there was a lot of people that treated black citizens like they were slaves or garbage. Yeah. And that was called the Jim Crow South because of a couple different laws that made black and white people allowed to live in the same spot as quote unquote free, but they had to have different things, like separate things. So black kids couldn't come to white schools, black kids couldn't ride the same buses, or they'd have to sit in the back of the bus. There was just all kinds of different rules that, if you remember, discriminated against, all right, racist policies. And you can trace it all back to Lincoln's assassination. Chances are, if Lincoln didn't get shot that night at the theater, our country would have been able to heal, and it wouldn't have taken 100 years and Martin Luther King Jr. to get us to where we are today, all right? So I'm going to show you a quick picture here that was in the newspaper of the incident. So that is Abraham Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth sneaking up behind him and shooting him. And that's Mary Todd, Lincoln's wife, the First Lady. Lincoln ended up dying, I believe, the next day of blood loss. It wasn't like he got shot and he died instantly. He went to the hospital, and I think it was the next day that he ended up dying. Alright, so before we take a quick break here, I want to show you a video that kind of highlights Abraham Lincoln.
It's hard to manage your workload, especially when your team doesn't know who's working on what. But with Monday.com, my team and I can see everything.
We've gotten the story of Abraham Lincoln quite right. He was a little bit better than the rest of us.
He's probably the smartest person ever to be president. And his learning curve is amazing.
He had his beliefs, and he stuck to his beliefs at a time when it wasn't popular to do so.
And at all of our crisis times, we've needed leaders who were just a little bit better. But Lincoln was really that good.
The essential thing to remember about Abraham Lincoln was that there was nothing in his background that predicted that he was going to be president of the United States. And in fact, if Lincoln had not been elected in 1860, almost no one ever would have heard of him. He was an accomplished lawyer, and he made a name for himself as an anti-slavery orator in the late 1850s. But even at his election, no one expected great things of Abraham Lincoln.
He was a man who became president at maybe the worst moment in our country's history.
At the beginning of the war and the beginning of his running, Lincoln did not advocate black equality.
Lincoln's principal objective was to save the Union and then alleviate the slavery. But before too long, he had to both save the Union and deal with slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation.
Here was a man who very reluctantly was sort of taking on the issue of slavery. He really did not want to. If you read any literature, he never really wanted to embrace the slavery issue. It wasn't his issue. And yet he sort of, over a couple of conversations with Frederick Douglass, and really over time, came around to embracing that issue.
By 1864, he was the best commander on either side. He understands the entire strategy of the war on a continental basis. He understands how to use the Navy. His orders to Grant are impeccable. Lincoln is, in the truest sense, the commander-in-chief.
By the end, Lincoln had totally grown to where he said that not only should blacks not be slaves, they should be treated as equal citizens with full enfranchisement, right to vote, right to participate. So Abe Lincoln was a person and president in progress. And the Lincoln that was assassinated was not the Lincoln that was first inaugurated.
Even after his election and his inauguration, there were long moments when Americans could say, what have we gotten ourselves into? Why did we choose this guy? And does he have the ability to rise to the challenge? The mythology of Lincoln all occurs, well, after his election, after his inauguration, and in particular, after his assassination.
The tragedy of his assassination, which unfortunately, that's what I think has helped create the martyr that he became.
He becomes Father Abraham. He becomes, for the next two generations, he becomes the personification of the American belief in liberty.
You won't be able to get anybody to agree on who a great president is, except Abraham Lincoln. I don't think you'd find an American who wouldn't say that he wasn't the greatest president.
All right, so there you have it. Abraham Lincoln, one of, if not the greatest president. And sadly, when he is assassinated, our country, it needed him. And, we were able to get through it, just like we're going to be able to get through this coronavirus. But it would have been better if we had him with us. So let's just take a little break right now and go stretch, go do something for a few minutes, rest your eyes. All right, I don't want you staring at the screen. But whenever you come back, make sure you bring your Grammar Simple Solutions book. All right, welcome back for round two. All right, I like to call this the third quarter. So before we jump into Grammar Simple Solutions, let's see how well you remember what we just learned while you took your little break. All right, I'm going to the corner now. So question number one, Which word means to rebuild? Well, build is like construction, so rebuild would be reconstruction. And that's what we called the time period after the Civil War, was the rebuilding or the reconstruction period. Okay, what were the southern states called? They were the ones who were for or pro-slavery. Nice, they're the Confederates. Who was the 16th president? Good. Honest Abe. Father Lincoln. Which war was the North versus the South? Nice. A civil war. A war within its own country. Next, what was the name or the nickname for the northern states? They were against slavery. Well done, it's the Union. Which word means to leave or to break off? What the South did. Good, secede. Alright, so we have 2 words left. Which one of those means planned murder? Good, assassination. It's a cool word. Last, freedom. Another name for freedom is emancipation. That's a fancy word for freedom. Alright, let's just check ourselves. Cha-ching! Good work, nice review. Let's keep going here with some grammar simple solutions. Okay, so let me find my stylus here. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. Number 1 and 2. Big question. A word or an expression can mean exactly what it says. For example, Roberta helped herself to a piece of cake. A word or expression can also mean something different from what it says. Hey, this is what we were talking about the other day. Literal means exactly. And what word does not mean exactly, but an idea of it? Oh gosh, Grammar Simple Solution says it's called not literal, but we learned a better word for it. Starts with an F. Figurative. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. This is figurative language. Woohoo! So I took my math test and it was a piece of cake. A piece of cake means it is easy. So let's match each of these figurative language expressions with its meaning. Please cut it out. Cut it out. Does that mean not feeling well, stop doing that, or good with plants? Yeah. Cut it out. You're not literally cutting something out like a magazine. You're just telling them to stop. Okay, number 2, she has a green thumb. Does it mean not feeling well or good with plants? Well, a green thumb is a nickname for someone that can make things grow, so good with plants. And Byron is under the weather. Under the weather doesn't mean you're literally standing underneath a cloud, but figuratively it means you're not feeling well. Good work, boys and girls. Number 3, add a comma and quotation marks before the speaker's name. So, that is the funniest joke I have ever heard in a while, Diane chuckled. What is Diane saying? What is she chuckling? Well, she's saying, that is the funniest joke I have heard in a while. So, rather than put a period, remember, whenever the character's done speaking, you replace periods with the comma, and then the quotes come after. So, That is the funniest joke I have heard in a while, quote, Diane chuckled. Alright, which one's the correct verb? Who catch the most fish or who catches the most fish? Nice. Who catches the most fish? The answer is not Mr. Niche. It's Mr. R. You can tell him I said that. Okay, add the suffixes er or est to the word large. So, let's start with large plus er. How do we spell it? L-A-R-G-E-E-R, is that right? Larger? No, we can't. We should not do that. We need to just have one R, right? Larger. There we go. I feel larger now than I did last week. Must be all this stay-at-home eating that I've been doing. Okay, well, at least I'm not the largest. Let's spell it. L-A-R-G-E-E-S-T? Or just one E? What do you think? Yep, just one E. Largest. Alright, next page. A plural noun can also be possessive. So plural means more than one, right? More than one. Possessive means ownership, right? Apostrophe. Remember, possessive nouns show ownership. Hey, I just said that. If the plural noun ends in an S, you add an apostrophe after the S. That's important. So it will look like this. S apostrophe. Two dogs have toys. They are the dogs apostrophe toys. So if the apostrophe goes after the S, then you know it's plural. Alright, I remember I taught you this. You look at everything before the apostrophe, and if it's, just read it out loud. So everything before the apostrophe in this case is dogs. So it's plural. If I wrote D-O-G apostrophe S, and I highlighted it, everything before the apostrophe is dog singular. Okay, that's how good writers do that. So 10 cars, plural, have tires. They are the cars' tires. So it's belonging to cars, plural. So do I put the apostrophe before or after the S? Good, I want to put it after the S. So if I were to pull out my highlighter and highlight everything that was before it, it would be cars, plural, right? So let me scroll down here. Ooh, too far. Number 7. The root word grot means pleasing. Choose the meaning of the underlined word. Blake and Stacy said that they were grateful for all the help we gave. So we're looking for a word that means like pleasing, right? So Blake and Stacy said they were surprised for all the help we gave. Does that word mean pleasing? Not really. They were greedy for all the help? No, that doesn't really mean pleasing. How about happy, though? They were happy for all the help. That word means pleasing, right? Grateful means happy or thankful. Number 8. Some adjectives compare using the word most instead of adding an est. So my dad is the most handsome man in our family. Wow. Looks like Campbell would say that about me. Woohoo! Choose the correct form of the adjective. Marnie wore the most beautiful scarf to school, or Marnie wore the beautifulest scarf to school. With a name like Marnie, she's got to be the most beautiful, right? Marnie. The most beautiful scarf. Number 9. Read the sentence, underline the verb, write it in present tense. That's kind of important. So we watched the cooking show on TV. Which is my action word? Yeah, good job, Willow. We watched. Watched is the action. Watched ends with an ED, which automatically tells me that it is present, past, or future. Which one of those almost always ends in ED? Yeah, past tense, right? Watched is past tense. It says in my directions that I need to make it present tense. So let's drop the ED here. We watch the cooking show on TV. As soon as we drop the ED, now we're in the present. It means it's happening right now. We are watching, or we watch the cooking show on TV. So let's write on the line. Let's watch white. It's white watched. Man, if only I could talk. All right. So there's the verb in present tense. Numero 10, last question. Some common prepositions are listed in the help pages. Right. 2 that begin with the letter O. Okay. Where's my simple solutions book? Let's flip it all the way to the back here. Dun, dun, dun. The back of the last page, page 289. Let's look right in the middle here, and we're looking at the box that says some common prepositions. So they're in alphabetical order, so I'm going to go all the way to the O's. And the first one is of. And the second one is just like of with an extra F. Off. Nice. So prepositions are connecting words. They are words that tell direction or connect other parts of speech. So those are 2 examples of prepositions right there, of and off. All right, that's all the grammar simple solutions. You can put your book away and get out a piece of blank paper because we are going to end today's lessons with some ace writing. All right, so today's video is called Knick Knack, and good writers know what they're going to write about ahead of time. All right, they're thinking about it. So let's look at our question. Did the snowman deserve what happened? You'll see. There are 2 answers for this question. You can say that the snowman did deserve it or he didn't deserve it. It's totally up to you, as long as you can defend your answer, all right? So you're not just looking for an answer, but you're looking for evidence. That's what the C stands for in ACE, all right? You're looking for something that you can cite from the clip. And then you're going to need to be able to explain or elaborate your answer, okay? So, you ready to watch it? Let's do it. Alright, so did the snowman deserve what happened? I love that video, it's so funny. Okay, so to start with, you're going to want to answer the question by using the question in your answer, alright? That way the reader can understand what you're talking about. So, did the snowman deserve what happened? Go ahead and write down your first sentence. Pause the video so that you have time to write if you're not done. Okay, let's look at what I have as my answer. All right, did the snowman deserve what happened? Well, here's what I said. I said the snowman deserved what happened to him. Okay, I want you to pause the video here in a second, and I want you to write down your C, your citation, all right? So start this with one reason is, or in the clip, tell me why you think the snowman deserved what happened or the snowman didn't deserve what happened, all right? So pause the video and go ahead and write that. Okay, here's what I said. Here's my cite. I think he deserved to be back in his globe because he was a shallow snowman. Now, a shallow snowman, that means whenever someone's shallow, it means that they are doing things for the wrong reasons. All right, they're selfish. Okay, so that was my citation. Let's elaborate on that. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. I have a little bit more. I apologize. Okay, so I added on to my citation. I said he was obsessed with leaving his globe to pursue the hot Barbie from Florida. And when that didn't work, he immediately moved on to the hot Barbie from Atlantis. This tells me, so that's kind of like my elaboration here, that the snowman was only interested in looks, which makes him shallow. I have one more sentence here, but I want you to pause the video and I want you to elaborate, okay? Tell me why. Either use this shows or this is significant because. Alright, so go ahead and pause now. Alright, boy do I wish I could hear what you wrote. I think that it's really cool. The other day whenever we did this, Peyton Fisher actually sent me a picture of her answer with the mom and that kid in the video games. If you want to, I would love to read that, okay? Just have your parents take a picture and send it to me on Class Dojo, or you can even message me on Google Classroom and send a picture of it, okay? So anyway, I have one last sentence to share with you. Therefore, he, the snowman, deserves to stay trapped in his globe until he learns to respect women. So my answer might be different than yours. It might be similar to yours if you thought the snowman deserved what happened to him. But to summarize, I thought that he did deserve it because he was just basically chasing girls. He wasn't actually being very respectful. He was mainly just into the looks, and he was willing to do anything to try to get with one of those Barbies that were one of the hot Barbies. So he needs to learn to respect women is what I said. Alright, so this concludes today's lesson. Stay tuned for more information about doing some kind of like Google Hangout where we can all video chat each other in the same group. But I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope that you aren't driving your parents crazy. So I love you guys, I miss you, and Mr. Ritenour is officially out.